Hi, guys.
Hi. Wait, before we start anything, I want you to all welcome Jonathan to the cat family.
Woo! Pussy fam jam.
And it's not mine.
Oh, there it is.
No, but seriously, he got a cat. She's great. She's amazing.
She is. She's great. I rescued her kind of last minute. I didn't know I was going to get her this soon, but I'm very glad I did. She's so cute. Her name on file before I rescued her was Saba. And my brother's friend speaks Hebrew. And she was like, yeah, that's a Hebrew name. I was like, oh, what does it mean? Delilah, maybe? Some kind of floral, something cute. And she said it means grandpa. So I had a female cat named Grandpa. But
I'm a cat.
her official name is Buffy, but we call her many things. Cat Mom D, Nelly Purtado.
Nelly Furtado. That's so great.
I had a couple beers last night and I came up with Princess Cookies and Cream.
I love that. Princess Cookie for short.
Princess Cooks.
Cookie.
But yeah, I have a cat now and she's super cute. And she was trying to break in, so we had to restart our podcast.
Sure did. I had to ask him if he was good.
But really quick, can we just talk about... At my job, I wear a bunch of hats.
Every time you say that, I picture a dick.
A hat?
Yeah.
What do you think about when I say fedora?
You in a fedora, and I want to punch it off.
But, okay, so when I'm at work, I do a couple of different things, and I just recently started writing for my company's blog, and, it's fall. We're doing spooky fall things, and the spookiest of all is school. Whoa, student loans.
Yeah, that's spooky as shit.
Listen, it's scary out here. But, yeah, so I was writing about college kids and what college kids want if, like, parents send them care packages and things like that. And it reminded me of the time that I was an RA. A lot of people don't know that about me, and oftentimes I forget it about myself. But yeah, I was a somewhat unofficial official RA. Hard to explain, but I saw a lot of shit when I was only there for a year.
Do you remember when we lived together? I would always get care packages. Remember that one time I got a whole box of Halloween decorations?
Yes.
Shout out to my mom.
Except we didn't use them as Halloween decorations. We use them as
All
year-round
year round. Yeah, and I still do that.
Seriously, same. But when I was an RA, I saw some shit, y'all. We're talking dirty apartments that had cockroaches crawling in the cereal boxes.
Ew.
That they were still eating out of. I broke up arguments. There was this one time this man was playing his cello so loud. We got so many complaints, and he was from China, and he thought that the walls in the entire building were soundproof. It was, mind you, it was at like 3 a.m, and he was playing the cello.
Shout out to him for
living his best.
Yes, living his best life.
Oh, and do you remember, before you say her name, because I know you will, let's just leave her nameless. My coworker, she was from China, and she was working as an RA, and she kind of put herself in a little predicament situation where she lied, and she had her visa and said she was in school, which she wasn't. So she was working without a visa because she wasn't in school, but she lied and said she was enrolled in school. And her car had gotten towed. Do you remember this?
Yeah. And I always screamed her name.
Her car had gotten towed. Well, it was about to get towed. It was on the back of the tow truck. And she comes out screaming something in Chinese, jumps in the car that's being towed. It's like on the back of a tow truck, and she drives it off of it and almost breaks through the glass doors into our lobby. I was like, what is happening?
Also, I feel like this girl didn't exist because as much as you talked about her, I never saw her and I never met her.
I thought you met her. She lived down the hall from me. She was on my floor. She was a couple doors down. She would catwatch baby when I needed her to.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever met her though. Like,
oh, she was so nice. She was a little nutty, but she was sweet. You gotta do what you gotta do, you know what I'm talking about.
No, you really do, because I would have done the same thing.
Oh my god, but then, so I had to work alongside other RAs who would bust people. I was the cool RA. I like didn't really care what people were doing.
I'm not a normal RA. I'm a cool RA.
It's true, I am. Well, it was. So they caught kids like drinking and smoking, and we had to call the police. And this one girl, I felt so bad. Her and her boyfriend were over the age of 21. We knocked on the door. This was not by my choice. It was by the other RA's choice.
I never told you about that, but I worked with that girl.
What girl?
The girl that you're talking about.
Who I busted?
Yes.
Oh, no.
Her and her roommate like got into this huge argument, right?
Oh, no, yeah.
Yeah, I worked with her.
Her roommate, like...
She was telling me a story, and I was like, wait,
what
are you...
Oh, no.
Yeah, and
so
yeah, it was crazy.
Basically what happened, her and her boyfriend were having dinner and like watching a movie or something, and they weren't even drinking wine, and there was a bottle of wine that was open that was on the counter. They could have been drinking wine, but she says it was her roommate's, and she got in trouble for it, and she started like crying. I felt so bad. Don't be an RA, guys. It's like seriously. A weird time. Also, I would get calls in the middle of the night of people who would get locked out. And I remember towards the end, I knew I wasn't going to work there anymore. This honestly kind of makes me sound like an awful person, but I don't really care.
No, it doesn't.
Because people would lock themselves out numerous times. And if it was a room that kept locking themselves out, I got a call. I remember it was at like 2 something in the morning. During finals week, and I set my alarm for an hour, and I went back to sleep, and I made them wait outside for an hour. Don't forget your keys, and then you won't have to wait. Sorry, not sorry.
Simple problem solving. 101. Seriously? Here it goes. Don't lock yourself out. I locked myself out of my house. I had to wait 30 minutes, and I had like 100 bug bites. So...
we locked ourselves out. Long story short, we locked ourselves out the first night we got one of our cats prior. And that was a time.
That was the greatest time of my life.
Shattered my heel climbing a fence. So it was great.
He was yelling at me because I had to climb through the window and I was flirting with someone.
No. I was like halfway through the window, and I was like, hi, can I get some help? And you were like,
oh.
Yeah. I was like, this is not the time. And he's like, can I get your number? I was like, no, but you know our address, so please leave. Jesus. It's almost Halloween. Well, August just ended, so it's Halloween.
Yeah, it's October.
I already watched Halloween Town. Ooh, spooky movie I saw. 47 meters down.
Oh my god, I wish that we weren't podcasting right now, because these videos of him watching this movie are so funny.
My brother took a video of me. So 47 meters down with Mandy Moore and Claire Holt. They're basically in a shark cage. They go deep sea diving, and the cage drops to the bottom of the ocean. And I feel like a lot of people hated this movie. Also, as a quote-unquote filmmaker or somebody who went to school for film, I feel this pressure. I'm sure you feel it too, but I feel this pressure, especially with horror movies, to like hate them. I feel like it's super trendy to go see a movie and then be like, oh, that movie? I hated that movie. It was so bad. Don't get me wrong. There are a lot of shitty movies out there that should not have been made. But this one made me like actually scared. I hate Dark Water. I hate it. They were everything that could go wrong to go wrong.
You hate everything with water. You just hate the ocean.
I don't hate the ocean. I just I can't they were 47 meters down. They were stuck in a cage. They were running out of oxygen. If they swam up too fast, then the bubbles in their brain would explode. There's a lot. It was a lot.
That's scary.
It was literally
Did you ever see that movie? I forget what it's called, but it's about these 2 kids. I think it's 3 kids, and they break into this blind man's house because they think he's an easy target and he has a lot of money, and he ends up... I don't want to mess up the movie.
Oh, was
Spoiler
it recent?
Alert, but...
Wait. Oh, there it is.
Damn it! Come on!
Was it a newer movie?
It's I think it came out 2 years ago, maybe a year ago.
Oh, yeah. It's not Lights Out, is it?
No, it's called Don't Speak or something.
Yeah, Don't Breathe.
Hold
your breath.
Don't
hold your breath.
Yeah, for long.
Something like that. Is that what it was called?
I think it's called Don't Breathe.
It's again, horror movies especially, I feel like it's really trendy to go see a horror movie and say you hated it. With other movies, it's different, but I feel like all horror movies
you have to hate.
Yeah. And God forbid I ever say I enjoy something.
Oh my god, that's
I
like
just-
the end of the world when you enjoy something.
The only thing is, when I watch a movie, yes, I watch it for the story. I want to be entertained. And when it comes to scary movies, I'm so desensitized because I know that when they're filming something, there's like a shit ton of people standing in the same room and they go in for another take. But 47 meters down, they were underwater, and it made me feel something. Like, I don't get scared of monsters.
I don't feel anything.
That's what I'm saying. I just feel so damn numb. I just want to feel something. Let me just put on my eyeliner and listen to MCR in my room on
I'm triggered.
my Walkman. But seriously, I just wanted to feel something. Jesus. Welcome to Esoteric Oddities.
Welcome, guys. We're just really messed up here.
Certainly are. What are you sipping over there?
I have some green tea frappuccino. I have
Frappy
some
chappy.
water. I think I'm going to throw up.
You know what? It's all up in the air.
Yep.
Stay posted.
All you hear is me throw up halfway through the podcast. Remember I always used to make those fake throw up noises?
No, when?
You don't remember that? Everything was like,
Oh yeah, you just do that because everything makes you gag.
everything.
You know what else is terrifying? Our topic of the day.
Good saying.
Yeah. I am king of the segways, and I'm not just talking about that weird scooter that you stand on. I don't think I would survive in one.
No, I would fall. I'd be like, oh, lean forward. Done.
They would have to put you on a kid's one first off because you're like 3 foot
Like, really, nothing.
negative.
Oh my god, so I was talking to this guy, and he was like, how tall are you? You look really short. And I was like, wow, thanks for like killing my dream. He was like, you thought you looked tall? I was like, in pictures, yeah. He's like, no.
How can he tell? Were you next to
Exactly.
somebody, or was
No.
it a selfie?
I don't know, it's just my Instagram.
He's like, you know what? You look small.
Well, I think it's because I'll be like up against things. Like other people should be.
Like an oven, and when he can tell you can't reach the top of the oven, he's like,
he's like
damn,
that.
she's
Wow,
short.
she's short.
Oh man, if the only razor she owns is a scooter, she's too young for you, bro.
Yeah, that's true.
Triggered too soon?
Nope.
But ew. But that's kind of what our topic is today, which is children. Oh my god, I'm so triggered. But
Yikes.
yeah. Our topic of the day, chosen by Sarah, is children and how their
Crazy imagination or lack thereof.
kind of takes over, and it's sometimes terrifying. I think I'm going first, right?
Uh-huh.
Are you ready? I have two. They're both kind of short. And this one, I don't know. Was that you?
No, that was the fish tank.
Oh, Duck. It's a turtle, but its name is Duck. Duck and Aspen.
I like that.
They like it too. Okay, so really quick. This is about reincarnation. Personally, I don't quite know how to feel about it. It's not necessarily in my spiritual belief that people are reincarnated, but I'm not against it because honestly, I don't know what the hell happens.
Have you ever seen Through the Wormhole? They do a segment on
What is it, a show? A movie?
yeah, it's a show. So they scientifically prove all these like theories. So life after death,
How can you scientifically prove it?
time travel, right. It's you know.
Quote, there's air quotes around the scientific.
Morgan Freeman is the narrator.
Oh, it's official.
I'm saying
It's a fact. It's on the Wikipedia.
I'm saying. So
It has
check
to
it
be real.
out.
I'll have to watch that.
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay, so yes, reincarnation. So reincarnation is an ancient belief, not only in India, but also in ancient Greece and in early Christianity. The research of Dr. Ian Stevenson is one of the most respected and well-known collection of scientific data to prove that reincarnation is real. Maybe he's part of that thing you're talking about. Because when I was looking up reincarnation, especially in kids and stuff, this man's name kept coming up. And he's like rather recent. I think he continued his studies through the 90s. But
How do you even study that?
I'll tell you.
Oh.
Well, I'm glad you asked, Sarah, because that's what I'm going to tell you. So Dr. Stevenson used to collect data of... Are you playing footsie with me?
No, I kicked you.
Oh.
Sorry.
Was I
Not
not supposed to
sorry.
say that out loud?
No, that's fine.
Okay. Well, she kicked me. So Dr. Stevenson used to collect data of children who spontaneously remember past lives. He recorded their statements and verified facts of the departed individual, which rules out all possible, quote, normal explanations of the child's memories. So this one had me quaking in my boots. So this is the reincarnation case of Suresh Verma into the life of Titu Singh. And this is from an article in Reincarnation International by Roy Steinman, which is, I guess, branching off the studies from Dr. Stevenson. So Titu Singh was born in the village of Bad, India in December of 1983. He began speaking at the age of 1.5, which was sooner than any of his 5 siblings. Titu was 2.5 years old when he began to tell his family of his other life in Agra, which was a city 9 miles away in northern India. His memories were quite specific. He said he had been an owner of a radio, TV, and video shop, and his name was Suresh Verma. He said that he had a wife named Uma and 2 children. He also said that he was murdered.
This is a little boy, right?
This is a little boy, yeah.
Okay.
This is what he's telling them at 2.5 years old.
Okay.
Well, I'm sure he's not, like, saying it as good as this.
My mom's calling.
Okay.
Sorry.
So his parents didn't take him seriously at first, but his behavior puzzled them. He often behaved as if he wasn't a part of their family. His father said, Titu is just an ordinary child, but sometimes he says and does things only adults do. Titu recalled his death from his previous life in great detail. He claims he was shot in his head a late evening when he was returning home from work in his car. As usual, he honked his car horn so that his wife Uma would open up the gate and let him in. But all of a sudden, 2 men appeared running towards him. Unexpectedly, they opened fire at him. One of the bullets hit him in his head and resulted in his death. He was cremated and his ashes were immersed in a nearby river. What would you do if your kid told you this at like an early age, like before the age of 5?
I'd be like, you heard this somewhere.
Yeah, I'd be like, you don't know your ABCs? What are you talking about?
Right, 2 years old. How does he even explain this?
I'm sure he was a little bit older. I think he was 2.5 when he started saying this stuff. So he probably just said like small things that were weird. Because I don't know anything about kids.
I don't know either.
I don't think they're forming full ass broad stories or know the word cremation at that age.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Up until last year, I thought a cremation was like an ice cream parlor. It is not.
I mean, you never know. India could be different.
It could be. That's true.
Like, they just, better than the U.S. Sorry.
So Titu was often aggressive towards his parents and did not believe in them. You're not real. He stubbornly repeated that his real parents lived in Agra. He said that the current house he was living in was dirty and he did not want to stay there.
It's so crazy you said that because once he said that he pulled up to the gate, I was like, this man had to be wealthy.
Mm-hmm. He had a gate.
Yeah.
So Titu normally refused to travel on foot or by bus and said that he was used to traveling in his car. Repeatedly, Titu would tell his parents that he was homesick and wanted to go back to Agra. Once he became so insistent about leaving that he rolled his clothes into a bundle and threatened to leave home. My clothes aren't a bundle. I'm serious this time.
Stop. This one time, I got into a fight with my parents, and I had this little purse. It was like a dog purse. Like, it was little. And it was a dog, and I put like a shirt in there, and my dad dropped me off at the train tracks, and he was like, you want to run away? Go.
That explains.
And I stopped, and then when everything was said and done and I didn't run away, he was like, what do you have in your purse anyway? And it was a shirt.
A shirt and probably like some lip gloss or chapstick.
What?
You remember that like soda flavored chapstick?
Literally.
You had one of those.
He was like, what were you running? Like, what were you doing with this?
Where did you plan on going? Me and my Abercrombie and bitch shirt.
I was literally a tyrant up until like 21.
Yesterday. Oh.
That too.
Oh, well, Titu was on the same page as you.
Sure was. Yes, Titu.
So Titu's older brother, decided to travel to Agra to check out his younger brother's claims. So he went by himself. He didn't go with Titu. He found a TV, radio, and video shop called Suresh Radio, which was run by a widow named Uma, whose husband had been shot in the exact way Titu had described.
I'm triggered.
So the brother approached Uma and explained how his little brother claimed that he was her deceased husband. They spoke and learned that her husband, Suresh Verma, who had been a noted smuggler and the owner of the shop, was murdered on August 28th, 1983, when he was shot by two men in the exact same manner as described by Titu. They were both speechless. So the brother then described how his younger brother Titu claimed to be Suresh, her deceased husband, and said pretty much everything that he knew that Titu had told him about Suresh's past life, and Uma verified the truth of these statements.
I'm shook.
That's like crazy. If I was her, well, they do believe in reincarnation, but if I was her, I'd be like, this is some sick prank, and you read about my husband's death.
Your like 2-year-old brother is my husband.
Yeah, right. So Uma decided to visit the Singh family the next day to see the truth about this young child. So when the Verma family arrived unannounced, Titu was outside washing at the tap when he first spotted them. He recognized them immediately and shouted to his parents that his, quote, other family had come. So the Singh family invited the visitors to sit on the veranda. This is saying this, but I just think it was Uma, and you'll see why in 1 second. So I believe that it was only Uma, maybe her sister or something. But the kids, the son or the two kids that Uma had with Suresh, they were not there. So they invited the visitors to sit on the veranda, and Titu asked Uma to sit near him, which was an odd way for a 5-year-old. He's 5 now. A 5-year-old in India to relate to a grown woman. He asked her about the children and then stunned the widow by recounting the details of a family outing to a fair in a neighboring village where Suresh had bought her sweets, which was information only Uma and Suresh would have known. Titu later described burying gold in a hole in the house. Spooky.
Have you ever heard that, like, it's like when someone dies, a baby is born? That type of thing?
Well, I mean, it makes sense because there's a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people die and are born. But that's what they say. They say, like,
that
one dies and
second.
Then
yeah, that's always interesting
life
to, like,
transfers over.
I did
spirit.
take a religion class, and we did talk about this. And some people think, like, the instant your soul leaves your body, it doesn't leave the planet unless you've fulfilled, oh my God, what the hell is the word? I forget what the word is, but you're basically reborn until you've accomplished something in some certain religion. I know someone out there is going to correct me and is getting triggered, but you know what? Eat my butt.
Oh, eat my butt.
So then it was arranged that Titu would be taken to Agra. And in an attempt, so in an attempt to trick the young boy, Suresh's brothers tried to mislead him on purpose, but the 5-year-old could not be fooled. He yelled, "Stop, this is where my shop is," when they were in the car and it was approaching the shop in a fast-moving vehicle. So Titu himself, since he had been born, had never been to Agra or to this shop, but he knew where the shop was when Suresh's brothers were trying to trick him. And when he arrived, it was also arranged that Suresh's 2 children would be playing amongst other kids in the neighborhood as a test for Titu. So Titu recognized them immediately, singling them out from all the other playmates in the neighborhood. So he knew right away. And this sounds crazy and interesting, but it's there's actually documentary. I believe you can watch it on YouTube. I watched some clips on YouTube, but like this whole thing, it happened.
It's real.
Well, because sometimes I say this stuff, and if I ever heard something like, I mean,
I would
again,
be skeptical, yeah.
I'm taking, fake news, God forbid, if you can believe anything anymore.
Yeah,
But,
right?
it's a crazy skeptical story that I'd be like, are you sure that happened? But it's a thing. So upon entering Suresh's radio shop, Titu correctly identified changes that had been made to the shop after Suresh's death. So both families played out the ongoing drama of Titu, and Titu's parents had mixed feelings about his relationship with the former family. Titu's family was like, I feel like when he gets older, he's going to ditch us and want to go live with them. Titu was a little rude to his parents and told his mother she dressed like a peasant, and that when he was Suresh in his previous life, he would buy Uma expensive saris, and how his father wasn't being a great breadwinner.
Ooh.
All right, you little
That's
dick.
really mean.
Seriously.
You little dick.
And Suresh's parents were kind of not weirded out, but Suresh's dad said that when he talked to Titu, it was like he was talking to his son again. But he didn't want to encourage it too much because he saw that it was upsetting Titu's parents.
Imagine that, a little 5-year-old boy talking to you like
like he's a grown man who married and had kids. That's
right. It's kind of creepy.
That is creepy. Kids are creepy.
That's true.
All right, so back to the murder of Suresh. Titu accurately described how Suresh, again, was shot in the head, sitting in the car, which was corroborated by Uma, of course. Then, in the autopsy report of Suresh Verma, it is confirmed he had been shot in the head and died from a bullet wound in his right temple. The autopsy showed the exact size and location of the wound and the exit wound in the opposite side of Suresh's head. Titu had a birthmark. He had a round, indented shape, which coincidentally was the exact same location of the entry wound of the bullet which had killed Suresh Verma. Titu also had a second birthmark on the other side of his head, which coincided exactly with the exit wound.
Damn. Damn.
Oh, damn. Isn't that crazy?
That is really crazy.
Spooky. Too
I'm
spooky. So Titu told more details of the murder to an Agra court and was able to, quote, convince the authorities that he was the reincarnation of a murder victim. And the outcome of the case was not given in the accounts I researched, but N.K. Chadha, who was a professor at Delhi University who researched the case, was quoted saying, again, a quote, because of the police involvement, this is one of the very best documented cases of seeming reincarnation I have seen. So the strange case of Titu Singh was documented in 1990 on a BBC TV program, 40 Minutes, which I'm guessing is like 60 minutes, but without the 20 minutes of commercial bullshit, which I believe you can find online somewhere. And
Out
that
there.
is the tale. Isn't that spooky?
That's really weird.
I wouldn't even know how to... I mean, I know in India they believe, well, for the most part, not everybody, but for the most part they believe that reincarnation is a thing, but I would not know how. If, like, I had a kid and they turned 2.5 and they were like, Daddy, I was
Right, I'd be like, are you okay?
I hope I keep my receipt and return that child. I'm sorry.
Oh, my
I'm
God.
just kidding. If I have a kid in the future and you're listening to this, I'm sure I love you.
I think so.
Moving on. Yeah. All right, so I have another one. This one's short. So this is the Pollock twins. This article is from Viral Nova, so shout out to them. So in 1957, John Pollock, his wife...
No way, I know this story.
No, the twins.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Okay, I was gonna... Oh, okay.
There she goes, gonna blow my cover.
Uh-huh.
So John Pollock, his wife, Florence Pollock, and their 2 children, Jacqueline, age 6, and Joanna, age 11. They weren't the twins.
Stop, I almost did the story. Another time, not this one, but another time.
Okay. So they lived in what most would consider the perfect little life in the town of Hexham. Hexham, England.
I would say Hexham.
Hexham.
I think.
If you can't beat them, Hexham. I don't know.
I'm saying.
I'm drunk. I'm not drunk. Okay. So this was until tragedy struck. On May 5th, 1957, Jacqueline, Joanna, and their friend Anthony were hit by a car and killed while walking to church. John and Florence were devastated and held out hope that they would eventually have other children. Their prayers were answered a year later when Florence gave birth to 2 twin girls, Jillian and Jennifer. All these J's, they're like the Kardashians. That was so disrespectful to say. I take that back. But then things started getting weird for the Pollocks. Pollocks? I'm struggling reading today. Can you?
Me too. I know I'm going to struggle hard.
So, while caring for the infants, John noticed something strange. A white line across the forehead of baby Jennifer that mirrored a scar that the deceased Jacqueline used to have. And on the back of Jennifer's leg was a birthmark identical to Jacqueline's. For the next few years, things were more or less a normal life for the family. And when the twins were 3 months old, they moved from Hexham to a town of Whitley Bay. The family returned to Hexham for a visit when the girls were 4 years old, and the girls began to call out places they recognized despite never have been there. Never have been there. I can English. John and Florence were very confused, so they were intrigued, so they began pulling out old toys for the twins that used to belong to their deceased sisters. The girls were able to properly name every doll and teddy bear. John and Florence started to think that their twins were somehow reincarnations of their deceased daughters. Another strange incident with the twins occurred when the family walked past a parked but idling car. Both of the girls went into fits of hysteria, screaming, "The car, it's coming to get us." That's horrifying and depressingly sad.
Right. I think it's like really more sad than anything. That's so like...
That's terrifying for the parents too.
Yeah.
And the strange memories continued to come to the girls until they reached the age of 5. Right after they turned 5, the memories of their sisters' lives abruptly vanished.
Because there wasn't any more.
Well, the one girl lived to 11, the other one was 9, I think. But when they both turned 5,
oh, that's weird.
That was it. And they lived the rest of their lives in rural England.
Oh. But yeah, I almost did this story.
That's crazy. I remember I watched a documentary. It was a documentary or a TV special or something about this kid who... This was the very first... I was young when I watched this. It was the first time I'd ever heard of reincarnation or the idea of it. And I remember it hit me like a wrecking ball. Let me tell you, because the kid was at a 4th of July thing. They did a whole reenactment. And I thought the reenactment was real because, you know...
Yeah, I never got those stories when I was younger. They're like, this is real versus this is fake.
Yeah, and the reenactment was... Apparently it was a real reported story of this kid who freaked out on 4th of July when there were fireworks because he was like a World War I soldier who was like shot down in a plane or something. I don't know. They did all the details on it, but it was crazy.
Spooky.
Very spooky. Also, I have really quick quotes. These, I don't know the validity of them, but you know, they're spooky and kids are terrifying. So I just want to read them really quick. So this has nothing to do with reincarnation, or maybe it does. Okay, so I was snuggling in bed with my 3-year-old when he sat up, pointed to the door, and said, "Who's that guy?" My heart stopped. My husband was gone for the night. I looked towards the door and no one was there, but my son kept pointing. I would have
been like, it's time for bed.
I jumped out of bed, turned on all the lights. It still freaks me out to think about. Nope. Logging off.
Right.
Sorry.
I'm gone.
Nope.
You're getting out.
There's something about the comfort of turning on the TV, but for some reason that's my instinct. I would turn on a TV.
Also, there's something about the comfort of turning on lights, like that's going to stop any bad thing that's about to happen.
Well, if it's something's about to happen, at least you can see it. But you can't because it's a ghost.
I'm saying.
No.
Unless you're a child.
Then you can see it all. Jeez, that's...
Or a cat, apparently.
Oh no, I used to hate when baby would stare at the wall. I'd be like, "What are you staring at?"
And then their heads start to twitch back and forth.
Nope, no thank you. All right, I have one more. So when I was a waitress, I watched this little girl who was around the age of 4 stab her plastic fork into her sandwich repeatedly, saying, "Die, die, die." When I asked her what she was doing, her mom was in the bathroom for a minute. She replied with a straight face, "I like to kill things, but Mom says I shouldn't. So I picked the ham because it can't scream." Children are creepy.
They're so creepy. Where do they come up with this stuff?
But why did the mom leave her daughter at the table? Especially if she's trying to
Alone.
kill things. Mom, get it together.
That like really made me uncomfortable.
I know. That's actually really terrifying. I miss being a kid, though.
Yeah, same. Everything was so easy.
I know. Did you ever play Manhunt as a child?
Yes.
I've never played it. It was not a thing when I lived in Illinois. Not a thing. I remember
You sure it's not Illinois?
Illinois. No, it wasn't. It really wasn't a
That's
thing.
really
I didn't even know what it was.
You never played?
It's like capture the flag, right?
It's literally like
Hide and seek.
yeah, but like anywhere. It's impossible.
That doesn't seem fun to me. What, you just hide anywhere in the neighborhood?
Yeah. It's okay, so like you block stuff off, like okay, you can only hide from here to here. But it's like you're literally around by yourself.
So
Trying
how
to
many?
find people.
In my head, I had it that like the whole neighborhood would play. Is that
There
what
was
it
like 10 of us.
And you just play. So basically, it's just hide and seek,
Yeah.
but outside.
Yeah.
And then like one person just goes around to look.
Yeah.
That could be fun.
It's fun. It's fun as a kid because you're a kid.
And you can fit in tiny places.
Yeah, and you
My
can literally
fat ass
hide
would be
anywhere.
standing behind a bush. I'd be like, I can't get off the
Your
ground.
feet would be out like your shoes.
My size 13 is hanging out. I'm just a branch. Don't look at me. No, but like when I moved here, it was, oh, there I go, shaking the table with my my tree branches. But my when I moved here, I was freshman year in high school, so like nobody wanted to do Manhunt. I was like, yeah, me neither. That's stupid. But secretly, a piece of me inside still wants to play it.
Yeah, me neither.
It's stupid. I don't want to play that.
You ready?
I think so.
Okay. So, guys, the story was done in first person, and I switched it to third person so it would be easier to understand. So if there's some things that don't make sense, that's why.
That doesn't make sense. I'm just kidding.
So funny, haha.
I'm just pulling your strings. Your tampon strings.
Yeah, I'm saying.
I knew you were plugging.
James and his children moved. I just want to note that you don't. It seems like this man only has one child throughout the whole story, but it says children. He does have a son. James and his children moved into a house built in 1903 in Lancaster, Ohio. The year was 1985 when his 5-year-old daughter Ella began talking about a girl who was in her room. The family lived upstairs in an apartment, and another family lived in the downstairs, so it was like a duplex. James suspected one of the kids downstairs have gotten to the house to play with his kids. Keep in mind, James states that this wasn't the first time the kids from downstairs somehow got into his apartment, which is weird. But 1985 was like a different time.
A time. Kids just hanging out, playing Manhunt without me.
James did a full search of the house and disclaimed that no one but his family was in the apartment. But his daughter insisted that the girl had been in her room. As time went on, Ella began to tell her father that the girl would pinch or hurt her. Ella even had red marks on her arms to prove she was pinched. I'm spooked. James's sister-in-law Erin came to him one day and told him that Ella was playing tea party with a friend. He laughed, thinking nothing of it. Erin then grabbed James's arms and said quietly that the friend was real. Erin gave James an odd look, so they both went to check on Ella.
Did he never see these kids that they're hanging out with from downstairs? No?
No, he knows that
That there
the
are
neighbors-
kids down there?
yeah.
Okay.
Erin told James to watch Ella closely as she played tea party with her friend. James didn't see anything wrong until Aaron pointed out that the voice coming out of Ella's mouth wasn't hers.
I hate that.
I'm saying.
I'm logging off.
Is that all? Said James. She does different voices all the time.
Ew, why? What kind of demons are living in this child?
I mean, you know how like kids are? They play Barbies and they change their names. I mean, they change their voices and names. But they'd be like, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, me and Taylor used to do it all the time. Side note, Taylor's my best friend, so.
Side note, Mark is my cousin and we used to play with Barbies.
Yes, I love that.
It wasn't as much we as I was forcing it on
Kill
him.
gender.
Kill gender.
What?
Just kill gender.
Just kill gender, you know? Ella began serving tea and talking to her dolls and stuffed animals. Aaron pointed out a very large vacant spot, but James just laughed and replied, "She's got an imaginary friend, that's all."
Mm-mm.
The term... Alright, so once you say imaginary friend, that should, like, red flag, because they're not always so imaginary. Aaron was not convinced. She then told James that his daughter may need an exorcist.
Whoa, that went from 0 to 100.
I think that's, like, really, like, extreme.
She has an imaginary friend. Roll out the holy water. Scrub down the walls.
Right. After
the power
this
of Christ compels you. Sorry.
It's okay. Do you. After this accusation, James watched closely as Ella held her tea. He then heard a voice of another girl. James could clearly see Ella's mouth was not moving. James looked at Aaron and replied, "She must be a ventriloquist." I'm sorry.
She must be a ventriloquist.
I had to laugh.
No, Ella. Jesus.
What are you looking at?
Nothing. I just was checking behind me because I'm like nervous because I'm staring at a wall and you can see everything behind me.
Yeah, well, you should know that I would be like, I wouldn't even say anything at this point.
Okay, I'll tell you. I have something to say, but I'll say it when you're done.
Aaron then grabbed Ella and James and yanked them out of the house. James felt like it was important to play along with Ella as if the girl was real, so one day he decided to ask her what she looked like. Ella described button-up shoes. She then said the child used a hook to get the shoes on and off.
Was her hand a hook?
No, so I guess like back in the day,
they used to have hook hands.
No. Almost. For some reason there was like a hook to put on shoes. There's like those old shoes.
Oh no.
Like, you know, the boots that had the like buttons up the side?
Yeah.
I guess they used a hook.
I know old people use the little shoe helper.
I think that's what it was, but I think that's all they had back then.
A hook. Or maybe she had a hook for hand.
That's true.
Hannah, hook hand.
Right.
Here it comes. Hannah Hooker. I'm going to stop because one, she was a child, and two, I have a bad feeling about Hannah.
She stated the little girl hated wearing the shoes since they hurt her feet and ankles. James remembered his grandma wearing like shoes with... and he also remembered his grandmother's feet and ankles having marks from the same shoes. My stomach just growled. Ella said the girl hated high collars and wore sleeves that buttoned up the elbow. Ella, a lover of tights, then said the girl had knit tights. These tights were made of wool and homemade.
Ew, what a fashion choice.
I'm saying. She was very pale with long curly red hair and a velvet red bow that held it back. Ella explained the little girl was 9 years old and coughed a lot, and when Ella would ask her what was wrong, the little girl said she was very sick with a fever. After a few weeks, Ella said the little girl had changed into a skeleton. I'm sorry. And would fly through the window. James thought at this point to find local records about any deaths and records of families that lived in the house before him. James found tons of names of girls and boys that passed away from fevers and head pains. I just want to stop right there because, honestly, headaches are so real, but they must have been realer back in the day because there was, like, nothing to prevent them.
That's true. They didn't have much Western medicine. Well, I
Right.
think they did. They did some crazy shit back then.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Oh my god, we should do a whole podcast on, like, stuff
Crazy-
people used to do.
Yeah, let's do it.
Sorry.
Plot twist.
Plot twist.
He finally found the lot of the plate map that led him to the estate records, which told him the surname of the owner when the house was built. By doing this, he found records of a 10-year-old girl named Ida Mae Skinner who died in 1903 of infections due to an accidental shooting. The girl was not the friend that Ella became friends with.
Wait, what? An accidental... She got it infected after she was accidentally shot?
Yeah, that's like any way to die.
And she was 9?
She was 10. This girl was 10.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
She was accidentally shot?
Yeah. And then the wound was infected.
But it was gangrene.
Probably. One day, while Ella was at school, James decided to talk to the little girl and tell her that if she did not leave his daughter alone, he would get a priest involved.
Sir, I don't know if that's the way to go about it.
Right. That evening, when Ella came home from school, she stated the little girl said her dad was mean to her and that Ella should go with her.
To the other side?
Yeah. Ella then said the girl turned into a skeleton and circled around the room before another greenish-gray entity with red eyes came to chase her out of the window.
No thanks, red eyes.
The little girl came around less and less until Jameson began to see 2 girls in the house. Pinching him and hurting him, James would hear running up and down the halls, but assumed it was the children playing, until one night he went to check on them and they were fast asleep. After hearing this for months, the neighbors started to complain, stating that they've been hearing the running even before they moved in, usually at the same time, always after 3 a.m.
That's the...
haunting hour.
Witching hour.
Yeah, haunting.
Spooky.
Witching.
Yikes.
Right. James then began his search again to find the history of the house. Over the course of 15 years, he discovered that the tenants did not stay in the house for more than a year. After the original homeowners moved out, the house was split into a duplex. I think that's when it all started.
No thanks.
Finally, James reached out to the 80-year-old neighbor from across the street. She said that past tenants stated there were ghosts. Every tenant had reported 4 ghosts. The teen, the 9-year-old girl, a 50-year-old man, and a robust man.
A robust man?
Yeah. I'm guessing like a
like
bigger...
tomato sauce?
Yeah.
Oh. When I hear robust, I just think of...
robust tomatoes.
Yeah.
Robust.
Properly seasoned. Now I'm hungry.
James, and how are you hungry after
I don't know. I still have a Chipotle burrito in my tummy.
James and his family spent 6 years in the duplex. One day before moving out of the house, James and his friend saw the 9-year-old girl dart to the kitchen. Ella began screaming, saying the little girl was going to push a pan off the stove. After the little girl pushed the pan off the stove, she then threw multiple dishes and bowls off the shelf.
The invisible girl? Mm-hmm. The dead girl? No, when they can start moving things. Logging off yet again. This time I mean it. That AIM door slam sound emoji. Do you remember that? People would log off.
Oh, I remember that the door would shut.
Yeah.
That's funny.
That's what I just did because I'm over it.
And then later, so this is before they moved out, James also mentions that he woke up with someone strangling him.
What? Just like a casual mention, like, by the way.
Yeah, basically.
No.
Yeah. So after 6 years, they got out of the house, and...
I'm stressed.
I haven't heard anything since.
Is that it?
Yeah.
That's awful.
I know.
I hate stuff like that. I don't remember if I said this in the last one, but that is so creepy. I really don't remember if I said this to you or if we were recording the podcast, but I was babysitting a girl whose name was Ella.
No,
yeah,
I made that up.
She had an imaginary friend.
Maybe that's why I named her Ella.
I didn't tell you that though. Oh, so you gave them names.
I did because it was first person. Okay. So it was like my daughter, me, my sister-in-law.
Okay, gotcha. Oh, well, yeah. The girl I was babysitting, her name was Ella, and she had an imaginary friend, and I didn't like that.
You said this in the last podcast.
See, but I don't remember if I said it out loud or not. But what I was going to say before is stuff like that. I used to play piano. And I would I would go to my lessons, and then I would come home that night, and I would have to practice. And where my piano was in my basement, against a wall, and then my back was facing the entire rest of the basement. That's why I turned around, because it just took me back to that time. Because I don't know how to explain it, but I would feel things this weird
cousins.
And my sense was like my ears I would feel it like I don't know how to explain it. I would like feel my ears would like perk up, and I would feel like this pain behind my ears, like anytime, because I could tell if like anybody was in there. Still to this day, I can tell if I walk into a house. I know how many TVs are on in the house at a given time. I thought it was a normal thing. I thought everybody could do it, but like, or sometimes when you like turn the TV off and
clairvoyant,
spooky. But like how you can tell. What was that?
I don't know. What was that?
That was my thumb.
Oh my god. Stop.
No, I thought you like heard something else. I was like, what?
No, I heard your thumb.
Oh, well.
It sounded like someone was about to come in here.
Johnny Thumbprints. That's what they call me.
Like, a basement is any place to record. We're just asking for it. We're talking about spooky things. What's in that room? Have you ever been in there?
Yeah, it's scary.
It's the disappointments room.
What's that?
I told you. You have to watch it.
Okay, I'll watch it.
I don't think it's a very good spooky movie, but you have a disappointments room. Here's a breather hole and all.
Oh no, I have a disappointments room in my heart, and there's a lot in there. It's overcrowded, overpopulated.
I feel that.
And the fire marshals are like filled to capacity. I feel like kids are so open to things like that.
Yeah, then it just stops.
Because when you grow up, your heart dies.
I'm saying.
That's from
I'm gonna get that tattooed.
St. Elmo's Fire. No, not St. Elmo's Fire. Breakfast Club. Was that Breakfast Club? Did I make that up? I think I made that up. Copyright. I am copywriting that now. I'm just kidding. I think that was Breakfast Club. But I'm telling you, their third eye is like so wide open, and then
it just shuts by.
It shuts because we're like, that's not real.
No, it's because the whole world brainwashes people, like the media and all that.
You're being brainwashed right now. We're brainwashing you. You don't even know it.
It's true.
Did you have an imaginary friend as a child?
I don't know. I'm going to ask my mom.
I don't think that I did.
I don't know. I had a dream last night that I couldn't stop laughing. So
clearly you had
possibilities are endless in my life.
Clearly you had an imaginary friend.
How do you have that dream? Like,
you dreamed you were happy.
Wow, it was a dream.
Jesus Christ.
Disclaimer, I'm actually really happy with my life.
Okay.
Let's start that.
Just putting that out there. I think as you get older, you clearly become more desensitized. And I feel like that's why I have like horror movies, especially from the 80s and 90s, have like hold a real place in my heart because I miss being not desensitized and being scared of something. Do you know what I mean?
I feel that. I don't know what that's like anymore.
Man.
I'm scared if my bills aren't going to...
That is truly terrifying. So being an adult's scarier than a child, honestly. I remember there was one movie that I used to rent from Blockbuster.
Throwback.
It was a short movie. It was actually an adaptation from a book, and it was called Nightmare in My Closet. And it was basically a movie it was like a short movie that was teaching kids not to be scared of like anything in their closet, and it would scare the shit out of me.
But it wasn't supposed to scare you, right?
No, but every time we went to Blockbuster, guess what I wanted to get? That movie that used to scare the shit out of me, and I would watch it and I would have nightmares, and I loved it and I lived for it. That was when I must have been in preschool. That was my hand again. Okay, weird noises.
In the disappointments room.
Do you have a fun fact?
Mm-hmm.
Hit me with the fun fact.
Hit me with the fun facts.
Copyright.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't let it happen again. Just kidding.
I thought that didn't count. Are you ready for this?
Yes, I am. Thank you for asking.
Almost all serial killers admit they started by acting out their fantasies on small animals. Like that girl in The Meat.
This is a fun fact. I'm having a blast. Jesus.
Before they moved on to humans, and that animal torture brought them a great source of pleasure. Given that most serial killers are from dysfunctional families, such as pathological and abnormal behavior may be ignored. Jeffrey Dahmer's father, for example, had no issues that his son performed animal dissections.
No. Did you ever have to dissect an animal?
No, and I don't know why.
We had I didn't actually do it. I think it was just in high school. It was the AP classes that did it. But
yeah, I think that's.
But I had homeroom in that classroom, and they were cats, and they had the cats there that morning, and I won't forget it.
Ew.
Yeah, it was like all the cats were like lined up and ready to be sliced and diced and
That makes me really
chopped up,
uncomfortable.
baked.
Do you have a fun fact?
I do.
Hit me with the woolly baby.
So mine's a little more lighthearted. Nice little change of pace. The most money ever paid for a cow in an auction was $1.3 million.
For what?
For Missy, the 3-year-old black and white cow from Canada. In 2009. And then in 2011, Missy was named Supreme Grand Champion of all breeds at the World Dairy Expo, y'all. So Missy was named Supreme Grand Champion in Toronto in 2011. So move over. There's a new Supreme Witch
In
bitch
town.
in the house.
I always knew was going to be the Supreme.
Spoiler alert.
You just said it.
I said it, but like I didn't mean to spoil the fun.
Spoil the beans. Okay, what does actually spill the beans mean? Who made that up?
Well, now they say spill the tea.
Oh. But why does that insinuate information? Beans and tea.
Well, tea is truth.
Oh, yeah, I know that. But beans? But beans?
But what about the beans? That's going to be the name of this episode. No, that's disgusting.
I like that.
I hate it. But it doesn't really matter that Missy was sold for $1.3 million because she was eventually sent to a slaughterhouse where her butchered remains were dispersed to various Hardys and Carl's Jr.'s throughout the tri-state area. Mm-hmm. Just kidding. That last part I totally just made up.
I was waiting
They
for
actually
when that was
kept her and they took her genetics.
Oh.
So they could perfectly breed cows just like Missy in a petri dish. So if you are making cows in a petri dish and you're bringing them to a dairy show, is it a science fair now?
Yeah.
You're like competing. You're like, look at this. I made this cow.
Ew, that's gross.
These poor cows are just like, I don't want to be here.
Right.
I just want to moo.
Right, in a land of grass.
In a land o' grass.
Guys, before we sign off, I just want to talk about this segment that I read on Twitter.
Oh no.
Okay, so I was on Facebook and I clicked this article. And basically it's about this post a guy made and he was
It's a thread. Like Twitter, it's a Twitter thread.
Yeah.
Okay.
So this guy was documenting
What was his name? Do you remember his name?
On Twitter?
Yeah.
No.
All right, you keep talking, I'll find his name.
So basically this guy, he was having dreams about this boy named Danny. And he would dream about Danny sitting at the edge of his bed, and then as the nights went on, he kept dreaming that Danny was getting closer to him. So basically, he researched, and this girl found him. I read this like a while ago, so sorry if this story isn't like that good, but he found this girl, and he asked her about, I think his name is Dear Danny. And she said that you're only allowed to ask him 2 questions. And if you ask him the 3rd question...
This was in his dream. The little girl came to him in his dream.
Right. And then she's like, if you ask him the 3rd question, Dear Danny will kill you. So he pictured this guy with... his head was flat. Like at one side, his head was like flattened. And the guy on Twitter asked Dear Danny what happened to him. And I'm going to be so sick if his name isn't Dear Danny.
I can't find it because you tagged me in so many things.
I know.
I'm looking at a MK Ultra Mind Control of Katy Perry right now.
Oh,
Did you message it to me?
No. I tagged you in it.
I can probably just Google it.
So he ended up asking him the 3rd question. And
he did it by accident.
Yeah, he did it by accident. He was like, oh shit, I just asked the 3rd question, like, I'm gonna die. So basically all this weird stuff starts happening. So he goes away for a couple of days and he installs one of those cameras for pets because he has 2 cats. And he notices that things are like moving in these
rooms.
Yeah, in the videos. And then there's this warehouse that he says that it's always busy and there's always people in there, and all of a sudden one day this warehouse is empty. So he goes in the warehouse and there's nothing but a green chair.
There's pictures with this too on the Twitter.
Yeah, it's really fully documented. So previously going back, Dear Danny would always sit in a green chair he had in his house. So the green chair was just in the middle of this warehouse. So after that, he starts having dreams. So he goes away for 3 weeks, and Danny doesn't visit him at all, and he stopped tweeting after that.
I think he moved, didn't he? He lived in the same
apartment.
he lived in the same building. He lived downstairs when it started. He moved upstairs and it took a minute. Yeah. And then
he kept looking, so his cats kept staring at the front door, and he pulls up pictures. So in the Polaroid picture, even with the light on, the hallway picture is completely blank, like it's just black. And then when he takes it with his iPhone, the light is on.
Yeah,
but that could be faulty with Polaroids.
The Polaroids. You didn't even talk about the Polaroids.
But the video that he took with the cat cam video, you could clearly see the turtle falls in the video, and then the green chair.
It's a turtle shell.
Yeah, and then the green chair is moving.
Crazy. The guy's name is Adam Ellis at Moby_dickhead. So he tweeted the last thing thus far as of the day we are recording this, which is September 7th. He said something on September 5th, which is, it's odd behavior from Maxwell, which is his cat, in any event. Things feel off this week. I can't explain it. And that was the last thing he tweeted. My thoughts on this. I don't know if it's a hoax or not.
Me neither, but the chair is moving in that video.
Girl, people make horror movies all the time.
I know, it's true.
I'm not knocking it. It could totally be a thing, but he's gained a lot of followers
from this. But I just wanted to, if you guys are bored, check the story out.
Yeah, it's very read. Even if it's not true, I'm not saying it's
really
not
good
true.
Story.
It's entertaining.
So honestly, even if he did make it up, props to him for coming up with that.
Also, it's Dear David.
Did I say Danny?
You did.
Dear David. Dear Danny.
Stop. He's going to come and haunt our asses.
I sleep alone at night.
Well, we sure hope you're not sleeping alone tonight. That sounded weird.
I thought that was moving on its own, and I saw... No, okay.
It's a weird headspace here. So with that information... follow us on everything. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Esoteric Oddities on Instagram. Esoteric Oddity, ODDITIE on Twitter. Also, follow us and join us on our Facebook page, Esoteric Oddities Podcast. Send us an email, odditiespodcast@gmail.com.
Guys, we put out podcasts every Monday. So look forward to that every Monday. We know Mondays are gloomy, but we're here to brighten it up.
Brighten up your manic Monday. Us and the Bangles.
Yes.
Also, if you are listening to us on iTunes, which there is a great probability that you are, since most of our traffic is coming from iTunes right now, please give us a rating.
Yes, rate
us. It means a lot to us. And if you enjoy our content, tell a friend. Share us on Facebook. Share us on MySpace. Print out our name you type on Word and staple it to a pole.
Yes.
Take a picture of it. We would love to see that. That would be amazing.
Yes, send us emails. Let's make friends.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening, for choosing to click us. I love you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.